These two foolish HOA cops really thought they scared me. Thought they could come onto my dad's porch, wave their toy badges, and harass an old man like he'd just roll over for them. What they didn't know, I was home, and they were going to regret ever stepping foot here. But before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. It all started a week earlier. My dad bought this little place after retiring. Quiet, peaceful, a small house with a porch he loves. And we're not part of any HOA. Our property isn't even inside their zoning line, but power-hungry people don't need logic, they need victims. Enter. And her HOA president, Barbara Flint, a woman whose personality could curdle milk. She decided my dad's home ruined the neighborhood aesthetic because his porch railing wasn't the exact shade of brown she wanted everyone to use. Then she started sending threats, printed letters full of fake ordinances and made-up fines. Dad ignored them politely. That only made her more unhinged. She sent her wannabe enforcer, Brent Mallory, self-proclaimed HOA officer, wearing a plastic badge and a vest you could buy on Amazon for $16.99. He marched right up the porch like he owned the land. Sir, you are in violation of multiple HOA codes. Failure to comply will result in immediate action. Dad just stared at him, blinking slowly. Son, this ain't HOA property. Brett didn't care. He doubled down, threatened fines, threatened citations, even said my dad's home could be temporarily seized for enforced beautification. Beautification, that's what he called it. Dad finally told him to leave before he embarrassed himself further. That embarrassment must have hurt, because the next morning, Dad found a bright yellow notice taped to the porch. Mandatory investigation, property noncompliance, signed by HOA Officer Mallory. My dad called it what it was, trash. He crumpled it and tossed it. Barbara didn't like that either, so she escalated. 2 days later, my ring cam caught something disturbing. Brent and another fake HOA cop trying to peek into my dad's windows, whispering, pointing, taking pictures like they were building a case. At one point, Brent said on camera, "If he doesn't open the door today, we force it." I felt my jaw lock. Dad's 68. He minds his business. He doesn't bother anyone, and these idiots thought they were going to intimidate him. Not happening. The next afternoon, the day everything went sideways, Dad was on the porch drinking sweet tea when the two fake officers marched up the path again. They didn't knock. They didn't announce themselves. They tried to force the door open like they had authority. That's when I stepped into the hallway, watching through the cracked door as Brett reached for the handle the second time. And right as I tightened my grip on the door knob, ready to swing it open, I heard Dad say the one sentence that told me things were about to explode. "Boys, this is your final warning." I stepped out onto the porch, closing the door gently behind me, not slamming it, not stomping out, just calm, deliberate, controlled. Brent and Travis, the two fake HOA cops, turned toward me like they'd been waiting for a reason to act tough. And man, they picked the wrong reason. "Kid," Brent barked, puffing out his chest. "Step aside. We're entering the property for inspection." I raised an eyebrow. "You do realize," I said slowly, "that this house is not in your HOA, not even your zip code?" Travis scoffed. "Everything in a 1 radius is covered by our authority." I smiled. "Oh boy, you actually believe that?" Dad stayed seated in his porch chair, holding his mug like he was watching a nature documentary. I stepped forward, blocking the doorway again. "You're not coming inside," I said. Brent's eyes twitched. The kind of twitch a man gets when he realizes he's just been told no for the first time in his sad adult life. He didn't take it well. "What did you say?" he snapped. I repeated, "You're not entering my father's house." Brent didn't think, Didn't breathe, didn't blink. He reached behind his back, pulled out a cheap black baton, flicked it open, and rushed straight at me. Dad didn't move, didn't shout, didn't warn me. He didn't need to, because the moment Brent's foot hit the bottom porch step, the Ring camera chimed. The whole thing was recorded. Brent swung wide, an angry, sloppy arc meant to intimidate more than land clean. But he had no idea the idiot was swinging at an MMA fighter. My body moved before my brain needed to. I stepped inside the arc, hooked his wrist with my left hand, and torqued hard crack. The sound echoed like a snapped tree branch. Brent dropped the baton instantly, screaming, collapsing to one knee while gripping an arm that now bent very, very wrong. Travis froze and then panicked exactly how I expected. He lunged too, no weapon, just desperate momentum and a stupid battle cry. I sidestepped, grabbed the back of his vest, pulled. He face-planted into the porch plank so hard the Ring cam picked up the thud. He groaned and curled up, clutching his ribs. Dad raised his mug. "Told y'all," he muttered. "My boy's the one you don't want to meet." Brent tried to crawl away. Literally crawl, dragging his broken arm across the porch. "Stay down," I said. He didn't listen. He tried to stand. I placed a boot on his shoulder, not hard, just enough to keep him grounded. "You're done," I said quietly, and the cameras saw everything. His eyes shot to the Ring cam, blinking like a red confession light. "No, delete it. Delete it." "No," Dad said. "We're sending it right then." A voice shouted from across the yard. "Hey, is everything okay over there?" It was Miss Ada, our elderly neighbor, standing on her porch with her phone raised. The moment she saw Brent's broken arm and Travis curled up, gasping, she didn't hesitate. She dialed. "I'm calling Sheriff Mack," she shouted. "Those two ain't cops." Travis groaned. "Oh God, no, not Mack." A few minutes later, sirens were already faint in the distance. I crossed my arms. "You boys," I said, "are about to have a very, very bad day." And the truth was, it was going to be even worse for them. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe, because the story is only going to get better. The sirens got louder. Brent's eyes went wide like a man watching his own career or whatever fantasy he thought he'd go up in flames. Travis curled tighter on the porch, wheezing through bruised ribs. Two sheriff cruisers slid into the gravel, lights flashing red and blue across the yard. Sheriff M. Mullen stepped out first, adjusting his hat and looking at the scene like it was the dumbest thing he'd had to deal with all week. "What in the county fried hell happened here?" Mac asked. Miss Ada pointed from her yard. "They did it. They cops tried to rush the boy." Mac walked past me, then past Dad and crouched beside Brent. He didn't even hide the disappointment. "Well, look at this mess." Brent whimpered, clutching his twisted arm. "Sheriff," he attacked me. Mac raised an eyebrow. "Son, your arm is facing Memphis and your shoulder's facing Nashville. That ain't self-defense posture. That's I got folded like laundry." Dad chuckled. Mac turned to me. "You lay hands on these boys." "They rushed me," I said. "Ring cam caught everything." Dad pointed a thumb toward the doorbell cam. "It's uploaded to the cloud." "High defense stupidity." Mac sighed. "Show me." I pulled up the footage. Brent charging with the baton. Travis lunging like an angry toddler. The takedowns, the crack, the face plant, the whole circus. Mac watched the final seconds, then looked at Brent and Travis with the expression of a man mentally filling out arrest paperwork. "Well, that settles that," he said. "Both of you hands where I can see them." Brent tried to lift his broken arm and screamed. Mac didn't flinch. "You can scream all you want," he said. "You still get cuffed." Deputy Morales cuffed Travis first, who whined the whole time. Brent got cuffed with his good hand, and a sling made from a towel Dad tossed over. Then Mac's radio crackled. "Sheriff, be advised. HOA President Barbara Flint is approaching your location." Dad groaned. "Oh boy, here comes the parade float." A black SUV sped up the road and skidded to a stop. Barbara Flint leaped out. Heels, blazer, clipboard, the whole angry CO starter pack. She pointed at me. "Arrest him. He assaulted my officers." Mac stared at her like she'd just spoken. "Martian. You're what?" "My officers," she repeated. "I sent them to enforce HOA compliance." Mac rubbed his temples. "Barbara, you don't have officers. You have volunteers, and they just committed assault, impersonation, forced entry, harassment, and about 7 other things I don't have time to list." Her mouth dropped open. "That is not how the HOA charter reads." "Lady," Mac said, "your HOA charter couldn't override a lemonade stand permit." Brent whimpered. "Barbara, do something." She pointed at me again. "You're all going to regret." Mac cut her off. "You're done." He stepped forward. "Barbara Flint, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit assault, ordering illegal enforcement activities, and misuse of HOA power." Her jaw unhinged. Then she actually tried to run. Morales caught her by the elbow before she made it 5 steps. Dad clapped once. "Love it when they try to flee. Adds character." They hauled her to the cruiser while she screamed legal nonsense that didn't mean a thing. Mac turned back to me. "You're clear." "Self-defense." "Clean takedown." A week later, the investigation wrapped fast. Brent was hospitalized with a shattered forearm and fractured ribs. Then charged with felony assault, impersonating an officer, and attempted forced entry, sentenced to 4 years. Travis got 2 years for aiding the assault. Barbara received 6 years for conspiracy, harassment, and misuse of HOA authority. And that's how 2 fake HOA cops and their power-drunk president learned you don't threaten a man's father. Not when his son answers the door. The end.